You've been lied to your entire life. And no, this isn't a conspiracy theory. It's something far more dangerous than that. You were told that working hard, getting good grades, going to college, and landing a safe job would lead you to wealth and freedom. But look around. How many people do you know who followed that formula, did everything right, and still ended up stressed, in debt, and stuck? That's not a mistake. That's the system working exactly as it was designed. And Robert Kiyosaki figured that out early. Not because someone handed him a roadmap, but because he dared to question everything. This is not just a story about money. This is a story about escape. Escape from the mental prison society builds for us, from the chains of financial ignorance and from the lie that mediocrity is noble. See, most people never even realize they're trapped. They go through life hitting snooze on their dreams. They wake up, scroll their phones, punch in at jobs they secretly resent, and numb their discomfort with entertainment and fast food. But every once in a while, someone breaks the pattern. Someone sees the matrix for what it is, and chooses to wake up. Robert Kiyosaki wasn't born rich. He wasn't handed millions or given a secret advantage. He had two dads, one with degrees and job security, and another with street smarts and financial vision. One said, "Get a stable job," and the other said, "Build assets." And Kiyosaki had to decide who to listen to. But this isn't just about who gave him better advice. It's about the mindset shift that changed his life, and could change yours, if you're brave enough to stop lying to yourself. The real reason most people stay broke? They think like employees. They wait for permission. They play it safe. They save their money, hoping inflation won't eat it. They're terrified of risk, but never realize that working a job for 40 years and retiring on a pension that may not exist is the biggest risk of all. Kiyosaki chose differently. He chose ownership over security. He chose to be uncomfortable, to make mistakes, to face rejection. He chose to learn, not from textbooks, but from experience. And that's why Rich Dad, Poor Dad wasn't just a book. It was a wake-up call, a slap in the face to millions of people living someone else's version of success. Let's be honest, you want more. You want freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, creative freedom. But how badly do you want it? Enough to get uncomfortable? Enough to rewire decades of conditioning? Enough to be misunderstood, ridiculed, even rejected by friends and family? Because that's the cost. Success doesn't happen by accident. It's designed. And it starts with your mind, with your beliefs. Kiyosaki didn't escape the rat race because he got lucky. He escaped because he took responsibility. He realized that nobody was coming to save him. Not the government, not the school system, not a boss. He became his own rescue mission. And that's your first shift. Responsibility is power. As long as you blame your circumstances, your upbringing, the economy, your boss, your parents, you stay a victim. Victims don't win. They wait. They wish. They complain. But those who succeed take ownership. They say, "If it's meant to be, it's up to me." Kiyosaki didn't complain that his biological dad didn't teach him about money. He sought out mentors. He read, studied, failed, invested, built, and repeated the process. Because he knew that every master was once a disaster. Every wealthy person you admire started with uncertainty. But they acted anyway. Now let's talk about fear. Fear keeps more people broke than poverty ever could. The fear of losing money, of failing, of looking stupid, of hearing, "I told you so." Fear is the enemy of action, and without action, nothing changes. Kiyosaki teaches us that failure isn't something to avoid. It's something to master. In fact, your wealth will be directly proportional to the amount of failure you can stomach. He didn't avoid bad deals. He learned from them. He didn't run from setbacks. He studied them. That's the mindset that builds wealth, not the play it safe mindset, not the wait and see mindset, but the learn and adapt mindset. Let me be brutally honest with you. If you're not building assets, you're building someone else's dream. If you don't invest in yourself, your education, your skills, and your financial intelligence, you're just a well-dressed pawn. Working harder, longer hours won't make you rich. Saving more money won't make you free. The system is designed to keep you chasing your tail, working for money instead of having money work for you. Kiyosaki understood that early. His rich dad taught him that the poor and middle class work for money. The rich? They make money work for them. So what does that look like in real life? It looks like owning assets, real estate, businesses, intellectual property, investments. It looks like developing financial literacy, understanding debt, taxes, leverage, and cash flow. It looks like shifting from consumer to creator. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need a fancy degree. You need hunger. You need discipline. You need faith in a vision that nobody else can see but you. And you need to start today. Because procrastination is the most seductive form of self-sabotage. It tells you later when what you need is now. You think time is on your side, but every second you wait is a second you could be learning, growing, building. Kiyosaki didn't wait until he had all the answers. He started small, made mistakes, learned, and leveled up. That's how real wealth is built. In the trenches, not in theory. You don't need to read 100 books before you take your first step. You need to act. Action creates clarity. Motion beats meditation. The truth is, clarity comes through execution, not contemplation. You've got dreams, right? Big ones. Maybe you want to retire your parents, buy your freedom, travel the world, start a business. But here's the truth. Dreams without action are just fantasies. Every goal requires sacrifice. And the bigger the goal, the bigger the price. You're either paying the price of discipline today or the price of regret tomorrow. Kiyosaki paid in uncertainty, discomfort, and persistence. He didn't have a guarantee. He had a vision. And that vision pulled him forward. What's pulling you forward? What do you want so badly that you're willing to fight for it? Because here's what separates the rich from the rest. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's not even opportunity. It's mindset. It's belief. The rich believe they control their destiny. They believe in creating value. They believe in learning from failure. The poor, they believe they're at the mercy of life. They believe money is evil. They believe success is reserved for other people. That belief is the real poverty. And unless you change it, no amount of effort will save you. Start today, not next week, not next year, not when things settle down. Life doesn't slow down, it only speeds up. And if you don't take control of your path, someone else will. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to be willing to move, to start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Kiyosaki's escape story wasn't about talent. It was about tenacity, the courage to challenge the narrative, to break from tradition, and to bet on himself. That's what you need to do now. Bet on you. Betting on yourself is the first real investment you'll ever make. And here's the truth. Most people never do it. They bet on jobs, bosses, government benefits, or the illusion of security. But security is a myth. There's no such thing as a safe path. The 9-to-5 is a gamble with your life. You're just too numb to feel the stakes. Kiyosaki understood this. His rich dad taught him that true security comes not from what you earn, but from what you learn and how you apply it. Assets protect you. Skills protect you. discipline protects you. But depending on a paycheck, that's gambling your future on someone else's dream. So let's talk about one of the most underrated superpowers you have: discipline. If you want freedom, you need discipline, not motivation. Motivation is a mood. Discipline is a decision. It's doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Robert didn't build wealth by waiting to feel inspired. He made a habit of action. He trained his mind like an athlete trains for the Olympics. He conditioned himself to move toward fear, not away from it. Because that's where growth lives. That's where wealth hides. On the other side of discomfort. You want a different life? Then you must become a different person. Not tomorrow. Now, this very moment. Success isn't something you attract, it's something you become. And becoming requires shedding the old you, the procrastinator, the excuse maker, the comfort seeker. That version of you doesn't get to live the dream. That version doesn't build assets or impact. It scrolls. It waits. It settles. But you're here because that version is dying, and something greater is waking up. Every single successful person you admire has had to become the person their dreams required. They didn't stumble into wealth, they evolved into it. They visualized it. They spoke it into existence. They lived it in their minds before it showed up in their bank accounts. That's the power of autosuggestion, a principle Napoleon Hill hammered into every page of Think and Grow Rich. And it's one Robert Kiyosaki embodied before he had his first real estate deal. He affirmed his goals daily. He programmed his subconscious. He wrote down his visions. Not once. Every day. Repetition is how beliefs are born. Start writing your goals. Every single day. Not vague wishes, crystal clear, emotion-fueled goals. I earn X per month in passive income. I own X number of rental units by 2026. I impact 1 million lives through my business. Whatever it is, write it down. Say it aloud. See it in your mind's eye. Because your subconscious doesn't care if it's real or imagined. It believes what you tell it most often. And if you keep feeding it fear, doubt, and lack, guess what? That's exactly what it will deliver. Kiyosaki's escape wasn't an accident. It was a series of intentional thoughts, decisions, risks, and habits. That's how freedom is built. One choice at a time. One belief at a time. Most people let their environment shape them. They think, no one in my family's ever done this, or I don't know where to start, or what if I fail? Stop. That's your inner poor dad speaking, the voice of fear, of conformity, of average. You need to let the rich dad within you rise, the voice that says, let's learn this. Let's find a way. Let's make this happen. Don't underestimate the power of faith. Not blind faith, but bold faith. Faith in your ability to adapt, to figure it out, to get up when you fall. Faith is fuel. It's what kept Robert going when deals fell through, when people doubted him, when his vision looked ridiculous to the world. He kept the faith. Not because it was easy, but because the alternative was unacceptable. And that's what you need to cultivate. A non-negotiable standard for your life. Not just, I'd like to be free, but I will not settle for a life of regret. Here's a hard truth. You're either building a life by design or by default. There is no in-between. And design takes intention. It takes relentless self-awareness. Where's your time going? Your energy? Your money? Are you trading your hours for dopamine or for dividends? You don't rise by accident. You rise by choice, daily, hourly, in how you think, how you spend, how you show up. Every action is a vote for the person you're becoming. The average person watches 4 to 5 hours of TV or streaming every day. That's 20 to 30 hours a week, over 1,000 hours a year. What could you do with that time? Learn real estate, start a side business, build a personal brand, study cash flow, build a network, read books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Millionaire Fast Lane, or The Psychology of Money. Stop saying, "I don't have time." You have time. You're just not using it with intention. And that's not an insult. It's a wake-up call. Kiyosaki understood leverage, and not just financial leverage, time leverage, knowledge leverage, network leverage. He learned from mentors. He surrounded himself with builders, thinkers, doers. You need to do the same. Your environment is shaping you more than you realize. If your circle is full of people who complain, watch sports, and fear change, you'll subconsciously mimic them. But if you immerse yourself in content, conversations, and communities that talk about equity, passive income, ownership, and legacy, you start to change from the inside out. So what's stopping you? Fear? Laziness? Doubt? Ego? All of these are illusions, constructs of the mind, and they vanish the moment you act. That first step, no matter how small, is the most powerful move you can make. Because action beats anxiety. Movement crushes fear. You want to be wealthy? Start building something today. Buy the book, join the course, reach out to the mentor, start the savings plan, draft the business idea, film the first video, make the call, send the email. Just move. Robert's journey wasn't linear. It wasn't neat. It was messy, filled with setbacks, critics, wrong turns. But he kept going. That's what matters. Consistency over perfection. Progress over pride. He learned from every deal, every failure, every hard lesson. That's how you stack wisdom. That's how you earn your escape. If you're still listening, you already know the truth. Deep down, you know you're meant for more. You weren't born to survive. You were born to lead, to grow, to create, to impact. But nobody's going to hand it to you. No one's coming with a golden opportunity or a perfect path. You have to become the opportunity. And that takes work. Inner work, financial literacy, emotional maturity, daily discipline, ruthless focus, and above all, belief. Belief that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you are ready, even if you don't feel like it. Because the truth is, nobody feels ready. Kiyosaki wasn't ready, but he moved anyway, and every move built momentum. You can't steer a parked car. Get moving. You'll learn faster, grow stronger, and gain confidence you never knew you had. So let me ask you something bold. What would your life look like if you actually lived by the principles you believe in? If you didn't just read the books but applied them? If you didn't just dream of freedom but built it brick by brick with actions, not wishes? Because you have two choices: live someone else's script or write your own. Kiyosaki wrote his, not with ink, but with decisions, with courage, with relentless pursuit. Now it's your turn. Now let's talk about money. Real talk. Not the kind you were taught in school, that outdated, sanitized nonsense. I mean how money actually works. Kiyosaki said it best. The lack of money is the root of all evil. Sounds harsh? Maybe. But look at the stress, the divorces, the crimes, the silent depression. How many of them trace back to financial struggle? Yet society tells you it's rude to talk about money, that wanting more is greedy, that desiring wealth is shameful. That's not an accident. That's programming. And it's time to delete it. Money isn't evil. Money is a tool. Money amplifies who you already are. If you're kind, it makes you more generous. If you're driven, it expands your vision. If you're lazy, it feeds your vices. Money is neutral. But how you think about it determines how you treat it. Poor Dad said, "We can't afford it." Rich Dad said, "How can we afford it?" One shuts down possibility. The other activates the brain. It's not about the amount, it's about the attitude. Broke is a situation. Poor is a mindset. And that mindset, it's more dangerous than poverty. Because a poor mindset will reject opportunity. It will sabotage your success. It will settle for less, not because you're incapable, but because you've been conditioned to expect struggle, to expect just enough, to expect mediocrity. And until you kill that mindset, no amount of strategy will save you. Kiyosaki knew that. That's why his real lessons weren't about real estate or cash flow. They were about mental shifts, from consumer to creator, from spender to investor, from employee to entrepreneur. Let's be clear, there's nothing wrong with having a job, but there is something wrong with relying on one source of income for your entire life. That's not security, that's fragility. Kiyosaki said, "The moment you make passive income and portfolio income a part of your life will change." Most people work for money. The wealthy build systems so money works for them. It's a game, and if you don't learn the rules, you'll always be the one getting played. So ask yourself this: do you know the difference between an asset and a liability? Sounds simple, right? But most people don't. They think their house is an asset. Their car is an asset. But Kiyosaki flipped that definition. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out. Simple, brutal, true. Your fancy car? Liability. Your oversized house with a fat mortgage? Liability. Your Netflix subscription, gym membership you don't use, and credit card debt? All liabilities. The first step to wealth is knowing the difference. Build assets. That's the golden rule. Rental properties, dividend stocks, businesses, intellectual property, things that produce income whether you're working or not. If you're not making money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. Let that sink in. The goal isn't just to earn, it's to multiply. It's to escape the treadmill. And you can't do that if you're only chasing a paycheck. Start small. No one's saying you need to own a skyscraper tomorrow. Buy one book, invest in one course. Save your first 500 rupees or $10 and learn to multiply it. That's how you build confidence. Wealth isn't built in leaps. It's built in layers. Kiyosaki didn't start with $1 million portfolio. He started with one investment, one lesson, one shift. Over time, it became momentum, and that momentum becomes freedom. Now let's talk about excuses, the deadliest drug of the modern age. I don't have time. I don't have money. I'm not smart enough. It's not the right time. Really? When is the right time? When you're 60? When you've wasted your prime years waiting for a sign? Stop. Excuses are lies the old you tells to protect your comfort zone. You don't need a perfect plan. You need courage. You need hunger. You need to decide that your dreams matter more than your ego. Let's get uncomfortable. What are you hiding behind? Social media? Entertainment? Overthinking? I need to do more research. No, you need to move. You need to make mistakes. You need to fall and learn and rise. Research is a delay tactic when it replaces execution. Action is the ultimate teacher. Kiyosaki didn't figure it all out before he began. He figured it out by doing. And you will too. But only if you move. I want you to imagine something. You're 85 years old. You're sitting alone, looking back on your life. What do you see? Do you see a bold life full of growth, risks, learning, adventure? Or do you see a long list of what-ifs? What if I'd started that business? What if I'd read that book? What if I'd stopped caring what other people thought? That future is being written right now, in the decisions you make today. Regret is the price you pay for fear. So flip the script. Don't avoid failure, hunt it, Chase discomfort. Learn the rules of money. Invest in yourself like your future depends on it, because it does. Make a decision today that your future self will thank you for. Take one step. Just one. Because that's how it starts. Not with fireworks, not with applause, but with quiet, consistent action. Every empire starts with a single brick. You are capable of more, but capability means nothing without responsibility. This is your life. No one else can live it, and no one else can build it. Not your parents, not your partner, not your boss, not your friends. Just you. It's your vision, your responsibility, your opportunity. Kiyosaki didn't wait for permission. He created his own path, and so can you. Let me remind you of something powerful. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. That's not just a quote, that's a roadmap. You can either be educated by a system that was built to make you a worker, or you can educate yourself to become a builder. One path leads to security, the other to sovereignty. Choose wisely. The truth is, Kiyosaki's escape story wasn't just his. It's a blueprint, a challenge, a call to arms for anyone tired of living on repeat, tired of trading time for money, tired of living small. You've seen what's possible. You've seen what mindset can do. Now the question is, what will you do with it? Let's get one thing straight. Nobody is coming to rescue you. Not the government, not your job, not your friends. The system isn't built to make you rich. It's built to keep you obedient, to keep you in debt, to keep you distracted, and if you don't break out of it, you'll pass it down. Generational cycles of limitation, fear, and struggle. That's what's at stake. And that's what Kiyosaki saw. He saw a system designed to produce employees, not entrepreneurs, followers, not leaders, consumers, not creators. And he made a decision. He decided to be the glitch in the matrix. Now it's your turn, because whether you realize it or not, you've inherited a financial script from your family, from your culture, from your society. Maybe it told you to play it safe. Maybe it taught you that talking about money is taboo, that success is reserved for the lucky, that struggle is noble. But here's the truth. Those scripts are not facts. They're stories, and stories can be rewritten. That's what Kiyosaki did. He rewrote the script. He stopped seeking comfort and started seeking control. He didn't just want money. He wanted mastery. Mastery over his time, his choices, his life. That's real freedom. And that's available to you if you're willing to do what most people won't. Most people stop when it gets hard. They try once, fail, and retreat. They take one loss and say, "This doesn't work." But the ones who win, they're relentless. They fall and get up smarter. They lose and learn faster. They persist. Every successful person you've ever admired has one thing in common: unshakable persistence. Not luck, not genius, just the refusal to quit. Let me ask you this. How long are you willing to keep going when there's no applause, no payoff, no visible reward? Because that's what separates dreamers from doers. The dreamer wants instant results. The doer knows compound results come from consistent effort. Every book you read, every call you make, every investment you study, it compounds. The work adds up. Slowly at first, quietly, then suddenly, everything changes. The people around you call it overnight success. You'll know better. Persistence isn't just a trait, it's a strategy. It builds resilience, refines your skills, and increases your capacity. Kiyosaki didn't build an empire in a straight line. He failed. He got sued. He lost deals. But he learned. He evolved. He never stopped. That's the price. You want financial freedom? Pay it. In discipline, in patience, in relentless pursuit. because that's how wealth is earned, not just in dollars, but in character. Now let's talk about multiple streams of income. The average millionaire has 7. You might have one. Your job. That's dangerous. That's fragile. That's not freedom. Freedom comes when you create leverage, when you build systems, when your money and skills start multiplying themselves. Kiyosaki understood that. He didn't put all his energy into one stream. He built businesses, invested in real estate, created intellectual property, built a brand. That's what real wealth looks like. Diverse, resilient, scalable. If you're serious about freedom, you need to start thinking like an investor. That doesn't mean putting all your money into stocks or crypto or some shady scheme. It means investing in things that produce value over time. It means understanding risk, return, and reward. It means educating yourself. No one's going to do it for you. You have to study cash flow, understand taxes, learn to analyze deals, build habits around money that are just as consistent as brushing your teeth. And most importantly, it means shifting your identity. If you keep identifying as just an employee, just getting by, not good with money, guess what? That's who you'll remain. But if you start saying, I'm building wealth, I'm financially intelligent, I'm an investor, and back that up with action, your entire reality will shift. Identity shapes behavior. Change your story. Change your life. Kiyosaki once said, "The most life-destroying word of all is tomorrow." How many dreams has that word killed? I'll start tomorrow. I'll invest tomorrow. I'll read the book tomorrow. Stop lying to yourself. There is no tomorrow. There's only now. And what you do with it determines everything. So take one step. Open the account. Set the goal. Read the chapter. Make the phone call. Invest the time. Start the habit. One step today beats 1,000 intentions tomorrow. Let me challenge you. Imagine you had to bet your entire future on the actions you are taking this week. Would you be excited or terrified? If that question stings, good. It means you care. It means you're awake. Use that energy. Let it push you into motion. Because motion leads to momentum, and momentum changes everything. You don't need to have it all figured out. Nobody does. Kiyosaki didn't. He just had a clear destination, freedom, and he adjusted the sails along the way. You can do the same. You'll make mistakes. You'll stumble. But you'll learn. You'll adapt. You'll grow into the person your dream requires. You already have what it takes. It's not about resources. It's about being resourceful. You have access to more knowledge, tools, mentors, and opportunities than any generation before you. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is the story you're telling yourself about why you can't have it. So change the story. Today. Stop saying, "It's too late." Start saying, "Now is my time." Stop saying, "I'm not ready." Start saying, "I'll figure it out." Because readiness doesn't come before action. It comes from action. I want you to remember this. The journey to wealth is not about chasing money. It's about becoming the person who deserves it. A person who is disciplined, educated, bold, generous, and driven. A person who doesn't settle. A person who refuses to live on autopilot. You're not here to play small. You are here to build, to lead, to grow, to create something so meaningful that your name echoes long after you're gone. And that begins now. Not when you feel like it. Not when everything's perfect. Now let's go even deeper now. Because here's what separates the wealthy from the wishful. It's execution. Not talk, not theory, not endless planning. Execution. The discipline to do what needs to be done when it's not convenient, when nobody's watching, when no one is clapping. You don't rise by wishing. You rise by doing. And the people who get ahead, they do more, risk more, and endure more. Kiyosaki wasn't just a thinker, he was a doer. He didn't just read books, he applied them. He didn't just talk about cash flow, he chased it. He didn't just say he wanted freedom, he built it. That's what you need. A bias toward action, the willingness to execute when others are hesitating. Most people are stuck in mental loops, overthinking, overplanning, overanalyzing. You know what that creates? Paralysis. Fear dressed up as preparation. You don't need another webinar. You don't need to perfect your logo. You need to act, because speed matters. Momentum matters. And every day you delay is a day you could be building the life you keep pretending you want. So, execute. Make the call. Start the side hustle. Create the LLC. Pitch the idea. Build the habit. Read the contract. Try the thing. Is it scary? Good. Fear is a compass. If you're not scared, you're not stretching. And if you're not stretching, you're not growing. Now let's talk about thinking big. This is where most people shrink. They aim small because small goals feel safe. But safe goals never excite the soul. They never light the fire. You don't wake up at 5 a.m. for just enough. You don't push past fear for maybe someday. Big goals require a new version of you. They force you to level up. That's why they're scary, and that's why they matter. Kiyosaki didn't say, "Let me just make a comfortable living." He said, "Let me break the system." He said, "Let me challenge the way people think about wealth forever." That's impact. That's legacy thinking. You think big, you act big, and suddenly you're playing a whole different game. It's not about paying bills anymore. It's about building empires. Not about surviving, but leading. Ask yourself, if there were no limits, no fear, no doubt, what would you build? What would you learn? Who would you become? Stop playing the game to not lose. Start playing to win. Because no one remembers the people who played it safe. The world follows those who went all in. You have to be willing to look ridiculous, to be misunderstood, to be underestimated. That's part of the path. Everyone wants to be admired for success, but few are willing to be embarrassed during the climb. Don't be one of the silent majority, those who die with potential locked inside them because they were scared of looking stupid. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your dreams. You owe yourself the commitment to chase them. Let me say this clearly. Your life is your responsibility. Not your past, not your parents, not your country. You. And the moment you take full ownership is the moment everything starts to change. Kiyosaki didn't blame the school system. He outgrew it. He didn't curse the economy. He learned how to master it. He stopped pointing fingers and started pulling levers. That's your next level. Ownership. Total, brutal, radical ownership. If something's not working, you fix it. If you don't know something, you learn it. If you're not where you want to be, you get there. That mindset is magnetic. It pulls opportunity to you. It draws mentors to you. People want to help action takers, not excuse makers. You don't get support by waiting. You get it by moving. And when you move with purpose, people take notice. Your energy shifts. Your confidence grows. You start attracting new opportunities, not because the world changed, but because you did. That's the secret. The outer world reflects the inner one. Kiyosaki changed his inner world long before the outer results showed up. And you will too. Now let's talk legacy. Because this isn't just about you. It's about what you pass on. Most people pass on debt, trauma, fear, and confusion. The wealthy pass on assets, wisdom, belief, and systems. Your children will inherit your financial habits whether you teach them or not. Your friends will adopt your mindset whether you preach it or not. You are the example. You are the standard. And you are capable of breaking every chain your bloodline thought was permanent. Robert understood this. He didn't just write a book, he built a movement. He knew that real wealth isn't just measured in net worth, but in the lives you impact, the freedom you create, and the legacy you leave behind. If you were gone tomorrow, what would remain? What would your family say you stood for? What kind of blueprint would you leave behind? You can leave a legacy of courage, of financial intelligence, of ownership, of growth. That's the gift, not just what you build, but what you become. The work you're doing now is bigger than you, so keep going, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because every action, every decision, every late night, every early morning, it all counts. It's all building something eternal. This is the moment to decide. Are you going to keep living on autopilot, keep reacting, complaining, drifting, or are you going to wake up, gear up, and build something that matters? Because the truth behind Rich Dad, Poor Dad isn't about two men. It's about two choices, two mindsets, two futures. And you have to choose. Every day, every hour, every moment. Choose to be the rich dad, the thinker, the builder, the legacy. Escape isn't found. It's earned. Through sweat, through study, through scars. And you are worthy of that escape, if you're willing to work for it.